You read the title right. There are some hero buffs coming in next week for the mid-season patch. I skimmed through this before. I'm reading this to you right now. This is a director's take, mixing up the meta in the mid-season. This is Aaron Keller's article, the game director, who gives updates to the games a little bit in advance. He wrote this today, Thursday, March 7th, and this is for the mid-season patch coming next Tuesday, March 12th, so about 5 days from now. Let's see what's cooking up in Overwatch 2 Season 9. Hello, wonderful people, and welcome to the Mid-Season 9 Director's Take. This season had the most significant changes to the game that we've made in a long time. When we launched Season 9 in February, we wanted to make sure to keep an eye on your feedback and react to what we saw. We've had 2 patches so far, and we have another one, which is quite the stunner, coming up next week. Let's get into that. No, wait, let's talk about where we're at and then get to that. So Season 9, as you guys chat, as you all know before I continue reading, all the HP buffs, projectile size increases. Let's see what Aaron has to say about the changes. So the changes made the season were designed to address multiple issues in the game, based largely in part on your feedback. We're happy with how these modifications have shifted the game, but there are 2 areas we want to improve a bit. The damage passive and how some individual heroes have landed after the shakeup. We think the direction we're heading in is correct, but would agree that some changes still need to be ironed out. Let's start with the damage passive. It had quite a big impact on the game. It was designed to push our damage heroes to the forefront of a fight in terms of securing kills. It's definitely doing this. Overwatch is about eliminating the opponents and sending them back to spawn, so we think it's healthy for damage heroes to have a large impact here, but it may be pushed a bit too far. There can be moments where it feels a bit dangerous, even as a tank, to expose yourself, or where your health bar can burn down quicker than expected while being healed. One of the goals of the recent health increase was to soften some of the burst damage in the game. This is one of those effects that can be very difficult to tune just right, so we're going to take a small step back in the next patch and lessen the healing reduction from 20% to 15%. We'll keep an eye on it and go from there. So, first change happening next week. DPS passive is currently a 20% healing reduction on a person you tag as a damage hero for 2 seconds, getting nerfed from 20% to 15%. A 5% nerf. Light, reasonable, seems okay so far. Is anybody here okay with this change? I think most people are like, it's fine. Damage passive is still pretty good. 15% healing debuff is strong, but it's just a slight tune down. I think it's fair. With balance, we're touching roughly half the heroes in the roster this patch. Holy moly, wait, this is a massive mid-season patch. The power of heroes moved around a lot this season, and while we think this type of change can be healthy for the game, we'd still like to make sure that all heroes feel viable. We'll release the full set of patch notes in a few days, but I'd like to get into a few more of the notable changes that we're making here. All right, so here's the Ana buffs that you guys got baited into clicking, but not really baited because this is true. On the support side, we're making a fairly significant buff to Ana's grenade. Its damage and healing will move from 60 to 90 health to give her more self-survivability. Ana is an interesting hero and one of the most played in the entire game, so we're hoping that this adjustment brings her to a place where she feels viable, but not dominant. That's a big change, mostly for the offensive portion. Well, I don't know what you guys feel about Ana this season, but I have 1,500 hours of Ana. I played her a lot, and this is the only season I can comfortably say she's been pretty bad C tier. All the changes did not work in her favor. All the health changes killed her not killed it, but it made it way harder to confirm kills on your own with shot, nade. Didn't feel very good, especially if they get a lick of healing. It became 4 shots to kill somebody. On the defensive end, a lot of her hard matchups, like playing against Tracer, if you sleep a Tracer and you outplay her, you can't confirm any kills on her anymore because she has 175 HP, which means a shot, nade, melee doesn't kill her. This makes the matchup against Tracer viable because 90 damage on the nade plus 70 to the body plus a melee should kill a Tracer now. Which is a terrible matchup for her because Tracer's very good this season. She's slippery, just as she used to be, but the breakpoint change made her so good into the Ana matchup. This will help fight. Yeah, so the damage and the healing is 90. The damage is big against the Tracer matchup is the first thing I can say. Does that put you into 3-shot territory with a shot 70, 70 plus 90? No, it doesn't. So you still have to 4-shot somebody. or 3-shot plus nade, that's fair. But this is specifically for the Tracer matchup off the top of my head that matters. That's big. Number 2, the self-healing was bad because it was only 60 healing. When you got tagged by the DPS passive in the early Season 9, right? 20% of 60 is what, 12? So you were only healing 48 HP on a self nade as Ana. So when you were dueling a Tracer, not only if you slept her and it got like if you try to like outplay the Tracer, not only can you not kill her, but when you self nade yourself, you heal 48 HP, which is literally nothing. So now it's at 90 HP self heal and a 15% debuff. So what does that put it at, by the way? 10% of 90 is 9 plus 4.5, 13.5. We don't do decimals in the game, so it's like 77, we'll say. 76.5. I'm not sure if Overwatch rounds up or down at the half point, so we'll assume 77 HP on the self-heal versus 48. A lot more reasonable in the duel, so that will help indirectly buff that matchup and make Tracer less viable and make Ana's viability go a lot higher. And that's one of the reasons why she's C tier, because Dive and Tracer is so meta right now, like you literally can't fight her off. This gives you power to fight back a little bit, so this will bump her up quite a bit. Okay, so we're hoping this adjustment makes her where she feels viable but not dominant. I'm okay with this change. I'm obviously very biased because I play a lot of Ana, but I think this is fine in the right direction. Still not bursty enough to kill all the 250 HP heroes, but just helps alleviate the terrible matchup on the very meta hero, especially on the high end. Next, we're making a few adjustments to Life Weaver to help with his healing burst potential. His maximum heal will increase from 70 to 80, with the maximum charge time increasing to 1.15 seconds. So this is what's his relative percentage change? 70 to 80 is like over 10%, right? It's like a 15% buff to its max healing, but the max charge time is scalar. Is this higher than 14-ish, right? So what's 60 seconds to 100 milliseconds to 115 milliseconds? 1 to 1.5 seconds. How much increase is that? Is that also 15%? Isn't that kind of the same? But I guess you can pre-hold an 80 into a half charge second one. So I guess I don't really know how this works. Anyways, along with the reduced heal damage roll passive, we think both he and Mercy will be more reliable moving forward. Interesting. So with Yao, this is like a double buff for supports if you think about it. If the DPS passive goes down 5% and this goes up by like, 14 to 15-ish percent, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, Doomfist and Mauga are two of the tanks getting a tune-up. Meteor Strike's minimum damage will increase from 15 to 50. While this might not seem like a big change, the amount of damage this ultimate does scales from the edge of its effects to the center should result in a lot more guaranteed damage. Ultimately, we want Meteor Strike to give Doomfist or his team the ability to follow it up and secure eliminations more reliably. That's interesting. I think Doom is the A-tier, top-tier dive tank right now. This is interesting that they're buffing him in the ultimate. Obviously, the ultimate only comes up once every minute or a minute and a half, so this will help that tempo a bit, because like a lot of Dooms will quickly drop on somebody. Obviously, they land right in the middle, they kill somebody, but a lot of people are caught on the edges of the ultimate. This does actually increase the kill potential, because you're slowed a lot if you get tagged near the end of it. If you're tagged by 50 damage from the Doom, that will certainly help the follow-up for Doom to even confirm the kill himself or have his team capitalize. So this is a big buff. It's probably going to be a very heavy Doom meta, because Doom is already meta right now. People are realizing he's very good in dive. So this is a Doom meta. That's what it looks like. Although I will say, Mauga is also getting a buff as well here. So they're changing his cardiac overdrive ability. Its duration will actually decrease from 5 to 4 seconds, but the cooldown will decrease from 12 to 10. So while it's active, it won't be active for as long, but it's a shorter time for it to be used again. Interesting. Additionally, it will fill his passive overhealth by 100. Wait, what? So when you press cardiac overdrive, that's the thing that gives you the lifesteal, right? For 5 seconds. But instead of, although it's cut down, the uptime will be increased because you can use it more often, and it'll instantly give you 100 overhealth, kind of like Orisa's Fortify, which grants her green overhealth. Wow. So you just pop it and you get an instant 100 health back right on that moment. That is very interesting. I don't think he needs that. I actually think Mauga has a small niche right now where he's decent in some matchups. I played with a few last night, and recently people have picked him up quite a bit. His popularity went up in the last week for sure, in my games especially. This is interesting. We want the ability to be more reliable and constantly give Mauga additional survivability. Mauga will also receive a buff to his overrun. The stomp damage will increase from 45 to 60. Interesting. Very interesting. How is Mauga against Doom matchups? If you bunker down as Mauga versus Doom, I'm not sure who has the advantage here, so I'm not sure what the meta will end up at, but Doom seems good, Doom dive, but at the same time, you can bunker down with Mauga in ranked. I do think Doom will be the high, like OWCS, like coordinated composition, but in your average solo queue play, Mauga is pretty much stand there, anchor, and can actually just like win with the war of attrition, especially with Cardiac Overdrive being such a big lifesteal ability, and the DPS passive being cut down. I mean, one of the reasons why Mauga was perceived to be C tier or like lower at the beginning was DPS passive 20%. Mauga's entire shtick is lifestealing with Cardiac Overdrive because he heals like 70% lifesteal or 60% or whatever it's in it. But now it gives him overhealth right off the rip, so survivability goes up. Survivability goes up because DPS passive's nerfed. Number 2, you get 100 overhealth. Number 3, it's up more and you can engage harder. I don't know. I don't know how I feel with this right now. It's interesting. Solo ulting Mauga Doom is dog. You mean like Mauga wins that matchup if you just lock him down, right? Interesting. I mean, I don't really play the tank counter pick matchup, so I'm asking people here who main Doom or play a lot of Mauga who feels more favorable in that specific matchup in a generic comp built around that. That's why I'm curious. Okay, wait, it'll fill his overhealth. So I'm actually not sure if this means anything. Is it fill an additional overhealth, or is it an instant fortify 100 green health? So I don't know. I'm not really sure what this line means until I see the patch notes and try it itself. But all you need to know, the takeaway point is Cardiac Overdrive seems pretty good now. Okay, next point they're gonna bring up is a tank we're not touching this patch is Wrecking Ball. We have a small rework coming to our lovable yet deranged hamster in Season 10. That's fine. Ball is still pretty solid this patch. He was S tier earlier before the hotfix patch, but he's still very good, don't get me wrong. So yeah, he's still very viable, I would say. And he's coming in Season 10. New small rework. All right, expect all these changes to go live for a mid-season update next Tuesday, March 12th. Aaron says he'd like to reiterate that we'll be watching the game and listening to your feedback when these changes go live and react accordingly. In fact, we're already talking about some of the modifications we'll be making in Season 10. We're also going to be running our next quick play hacked later this season. This one is called Double Trouble, and it removes the one hero limitation in the game. What? Role queue will still be active, but that means players can choose 2 of the same hero for damage and support roles. The hero limit was something that was implemented in Overwatch early into the launch. At the time, we didn't have role queue in the game, and players could create a team of 5 Winstons and a support. We called this strategy the Quinston, and it won our first internal tournament. Wow. However, now that we do have role queue in the game, the possibility of creating comps like this is gone, and giving players more freedom in which hero they choose and more creativity in putting comps together could be great. We can't wait to see what you come up with. That's it for this update. We're looking forward to next week's patch. Let's make a great game. I'm not sure what the perception was for the wider community for the quick play hacked weekend last season, where they amplified the speed of all the objectives and everything. I didn't actually play that weekend because I was traveling. I wasn't sure how people perceived it. I understand why they do these quick play hacked, because it's the easiest way to gather data, because it's actually the role you're kind of forced, the queue you're forced to play. If they throw out stuff like this in an experimental, a lot of times is that people will play it on the first day and then stop playing experimental things like this. So it's kind of a brute force way to gather data on stuff like this. It's a little funky for a weekend. Would suck for those who like traditional quick play, and on the weekend they're like, wow, I'm trying to play the game and I have to run into 2 Zens, 2 Tracers, and a ball, blah blah blah. That's gonna suck. I'm a little curious. I understand why they're doing it, but I can see why people wouldn't like it. Because again, yeah, if you like normal quick play, it's gonna suck. You have to find a custom game for it or something, which is not quite the same. And quick play is the majority of the player base. We saw in the previous articles that quick play makes up the majority of the player base, right? Is this in a separate card? I just opened up last director's take in February 23rd. really quick to see what their concept was for Quickplay Hacked. Based on what we heard, we will change the way we run Quickplay Hacked. When we want to test things we have the potential of that have the potential of being fairly disruptive, we'll run the mode on a separate card next to Quickplay. When we want to test something that is a little more moderate, we will probably take over Quickplay, but for a shorter period of time during the week. And when we have a test that we feel has little disruption to the core, we'll probably run it to the same way we did originally. So evidently, Quickplay Hacked here, Double Trouble, seems to take over the core Quickplay card because it is minor. It's just duplicating. Tank will be the same, but you can have the option to run 2 of the same hero. I guess that is kind of minor in the grand scheme of things. Doesn't mean every game will have 2 Zens or like, you know, 2 Tracers running around because it is Quickplay. But I guess in there, this is the previous week's one. This is probably a little disruption to the core game because yes, it's going to take over the main card. We'll see though. We'll see. And that's it for the news on the article on the midseason coming up next week. The final bit of news, if you guys haven't seen, this one already has 570,000 views on the Play Overwatch channel from like, what, 6 hours ago? It is the Cowboy Bebop trailer because Overwatch and Cowboy Bebop are collaborating. I'm going to mute it because I don't want to get DMCA'd because this is the official. They use the They're actually using the legit song from the opening song, and I don't want to get claimed right now. But all you guys need to know is if you love the anime and you love cosmetics in this game, it seems like the takeaway point is these are the skins we're getting here. So we're gonna have, I didn't watch the anime. Well, I watched like 8 episodes. So we have Mauga. I forgot all their names. Is it Faye Valentine? Wait, where was it? Sorry, I'm trying to pause it here. So we have Cass, Ash, Ball, Mauga, and Sombra. Those are the skins that are coming out. And apparently the Wrecking Ball one, Spike, Faye, Ein, Jet, and Ed. Okay. The Ball one is gonna be free. This is the Corgi, right? This is gonna be free if you log in on the midseason patch March 12th next week is what I heard. That's what they said on Twitter. So there you go. Hammond confirmed a Corgi. So that's the next bit of news. It's just a nice little trailer for fans of the show and the game. Very true to the actual opening because I did watch a few episodes of it. I'm not gonna play it like I said, but that's the takeaway for the skins. And that is all the news for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.